Should the NFL want Tom to be more honest about the concussion discussions?
No, and I say that because the media right now is so irresponsible and so sensational and has the conversation about football and concussions so out of context, can't handle the truth. And so, I blame the media. It's last week or 2 weeks ago, the Baltimore Ravens made the mistake of being honest and transparent. Hey, we have some interest in Colin Kaepernick. And you know what that got them? Called a bunch of racists and bigots for not signing him. The media can't handle the truth. And so if I was the NFL, I don't want an honest conversation from Tom Brady about this issue because it'll be exploited.
You know, I've always wondered, and you guys played, I've never understood why the NFL discloses any medical records. If I was a corner and I knew a back had a bad knee and it was in the paper, I'd go after the knee. Like, I don't think players should...
It is
for gambling.
I mean, it's out there. Yeah, the information's out there for gambling.
It's amazing
But you know if someone's injured, and you're right. If someone has a sore shoulder, you're gonna bang it. You're gonna tug on the sore leg. Of course, that's what you do.
I've never understood why. First of all, I grew up in a time where my mom and dad, if I had a comment about something I didn't know about, would say, you don't know anything about that. Now actors discuss global warming. We live in a time where not meteorologists or scientists, but the guy who played a pirate in a superhero movie is lecturing me on global warming. Like, Tom Brady shouldn't talk about medicine. He doesn't know. I mean, you guys may have had concussions. You've told me you've seen stars.
Right.
Are you sure it was I mean, I don't know.
I blacked out. I blacked out. I knocked myself out in every game I ever played, at least for a split second, where you wake up on the ground and you're like, wow, that's a good one. And that's just part of the game. I agree with Tom in this. It's nobody's business. It isn't. It's nobody's business. And I'll tell you what the NFL doesn't want to know. I mean, you think about the NFL. Like 2 years ago or a couple of years ago, it was 2 years ago, Case Keenum gets knocked unconscious on the field, right? I mean, he's literally snoring on the field. The official steps over the top of Case Keenum to spot the freaking ball. Like, he steps over the top of him like, I got to get this ball spot. Nobody stops the game. The trainer comes out to check, and they send him back like, you can't be on the field. The spotter upstairs does nothing. The game goes on. He stays in the game, and the Rams are not fined at all. Like, nothing to see here, folks. Move along. We don't want anybody to know. Yet a player goes incidental head-to-head, helmet-to-helmet. It's completely accidental, something that you can't avoid, and he gets fined $50,000. Like, we don't hold the organizations to any standard at all. The NFL is just like, hey, you know what? Sorry, folks, park's closed. Moose outside should have told you. And just move on.
Yeah, you do not. The league is happy that he's not talking about it. Number one, I knew day one he wasn't going to talk about it because when it first happened, there's no way he's going to step out there and say, you know what, my wife is lying. She doesn't know what she's talking about. There is no way he was going to discuss that. I knew that. I knew that from the start. There was no way because he would have to say his wife lied for him to discuss it. Because he's not going to walk out and say she's correct because that would open a can of worms. So the best thing for him to do is not talk about it. And the league is happy that he's not talking about it because this is the face of the league. You don't want the face of the league saying that you're not protecting him, that I'm out here with these concussions and you're supposed to have all this protocol in place to make it safer, and it's no safer. So as far as them not doing that, I get it. I understand it.
I would say this. You know, the league always throws a bunch of propaganda out there about player safety being their number one concern, and we know that that's not the truth. Couldn't be further from the truth.
I disagree with that, but continue.
Okay, that's fine. If the league truly cared about the player safety, then guaranteed contracts would be their number one priority. Because let me tell you this, one person in the history of the National Football League has ever self-reported a concussion. That was Ben Roethlisberger. Why? Because he's he's $100 million man, and you know what? He's not afraid of losing his job. The rest of us yopes that play in the league, I'm afraid of losing my job. I don't want to get Wally pipped. I'm not.
Player safety has to be weighed against business sanity and whether or not guaranteed contracts would be a sane business move. Trumps.
Well, wait. That's because owners can't control themselves. You know why? Because owners look at that player. It's like a big, it's like a big slice of pie, and they're like, oh my God, I'm salivating for that. I love that. And they can't. If they just kept it to Yeah, if they kept it to manageable contracts, 3-year deals, whatever it is, they could make that. But they will never do that because they look at that player and like, oh, my God, I got to have that guy. He's going to win me a championship.
It's also possible, like a lot of things, it's fluid. Like the NFL 30 years ago lied, then they were caught, then they don't lie, and then they're figuring it out, and then we'll move the guaranteed contracts. I think this is like a lot of things in a lot of businesses. The NFL got caught not being transparent.
Right.
The NFL had to pay $1 billion or $800 million. The NFL is now like, youth league participation's down. The media's caught up to us. League of Denial book. Let's change helmets. Let's reduce hitting in the CBA. I think it's fluid. I think the NFL does now care more about safety. Certainly more than 40 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they care more. I agree.
Yeah.
I think they care more
about
it. But it's not their number one priority.
I agree with
that.
And again, that sounds irresponsible. But here's what I also think: what Tom Brady is saying in this moment, and what the NFL owners and commissioner are leaning on, they think it's a fair exchange. Tom's going to make $150 million.
Yes.
And he may leave here with some concussion. Eric Davis is going to leave here with $20-30 million.
And by the way, caveat emptor. We know now, you've told me before, I knew I was getting hurt when I played. I do it again. The league is basically doing what you're saying. It's a trade-off.